Hi, this is Glenda. I've come up with these little angels to take to the market, and I'm going to hang one on my tree. Anne from Anna's Paper Creations posted a picture of a little angel she'd done, and she hasn't done the tutorial yet, but I didn't have quite the same things that she was showing in her picture, so I used what I had and I've come up with this. I'll show you the bits that I've used. It's really simple. I've got some 24 gauge wire. This happens to be gold. It doesn't really matter. I've got an acrylic drop and a pearl that's I don't know, half thumbnail size, whatever you've got. A little bell cap. This was sort of a fairly deepish one, and a little crystal, and a little acrylic, it's sort of a flower bead, just a $2 shop thing, and a little soft metal dragonfly. For this first one I actually used a rondelle, but I've only got one or two of those and they're quite expensive, so I thought since they're a market item and they're going to be quite cheap, can't really, well, I didn't have any more rondelles anyway, though I did, but they were too small. I only had the one or two big ones, so I went for this little acrylic bead, and when nobody's comparing them, nobody's going to see that there's a difference, because that one will be on my tree. So that's what I've been up to. So super simple. Cut a length of wire. This was a random amount that changed on every one I did. And you're just going to, these have a hole in the top rather than through, so I also found it was easier to have the wire at slightly different lengths, and just put a tight twist at the top of the bead, and then the little bead cap goes on, and this was the bit that was easier to have two lengths of wire, because you can thread one and then you can thread the other with a bit of luck. So then the pearl goes on, and the little flat bead, rondelle sort of bead, and then the little crystal bead was sort of just to finish off the, and you probably don't even need it when you're doing it like that. With the rondelle I thought it needed something in the middle, so having started it that way I kept doing it that way. So then pull them down as tight as you can, and I'm just going to twist the wires together. Some of them I did a bit loose, but it did look better if they were fairly sort of tightly twisted. You just need to twist it up far enough to be hook length, and that's probably plenty. Snip it off, and then just sort of hold a flat bit and bend a hook, and you can snip a bit more if it's still a bit long. And then I just flattened the ends just to make sure they weren't too sharp. And then pick what's going to be the back, which is really kind of a moot point because it's symmetrical. And then the dragonfly, I've just cut off the tail. These are a really soft metal. Again, I think they were a $2 shop purchase. Sort of picked these things up and then they sort of sit in my stash. But there's quite a lot of them, which means they were cheap. And that's going to give me my wings, and I'm just going to again flatten where I've snipped it so it's not sharp. It doesn't take much. And then the first one I used D6000, and I'm not patient, it's still drying, so I'm using hot glue. It seems to hold relatively well because this is, I'm not even sure if it's genuine metal, I don't know what it's made of. And then the bead's acrylic, so it's actually holding quite well so far, just using a bit of hot glue, but obviously any glue you like that will hold this kind of thing. Naturally I've got the wings a bit crooked on that one. Always happens when you're filming. And I think what I'll do is just put a little bit of glossy accents or something there and hang them just to secure that. But that's my little angel, and hopefully it's a market item that will sell. If not, next year my tree will be covered with these, like they're covered with almost everything else I've made. It is covered. I only have one tree. So anyway, that's my offering. Thank you for watching. We'll see what's next.